It's okay. I'm not hiding anything. Okay. So, Havkuf Memvav, Dini Nisuin B'Chol HaMoed is a little bit of a side point. Begabe Meleches Chol HaMoed, it's not Dini Tircha, not Dini Davar Aviv. It's a besondere Joshua, it's a besondere Isser. Of Ein Noisim Nashim B'Moed. Lo B'Suas V'Almonois, T'Mishnah Daf Chesed Beis. Lo B'Yatnin. So, being that there's no Isser Malach, and the emphasis there might be a mixed Isser Malach, that's what's before in the Gemara Daf Yud Ches, that for Erusin, which is Mutter, the Gemara says, provides a special heter. Now, why is it Mutter La'aris? Shemi Yechad Minu Acher. Why do you need a special heter? Let's say, not Shemi Yechad Minu Acher. Why can't a person do Erusin if there's no problem with Simcha? So the Rishonim before that maybe there's episode Inyan Mitzad Meleches Chol HaMoed, Kinyan of Tircha, something like that, but the tzorich to get married is going around that. Legabe Shemi Yechad Minu Acher. That matters. And Huadin Nesuin, it sounds like there would be no problem Mitzad Meleches Chol HaMoed or Kinyan. The only issue is, like the Mishnah says, what's the problem of getting married b'Chol HaMoed? Das heißt Nesuin. If Bnei Simcha Hiloi. The Mishnah tells us a very strange thing, that because it's a Simcha, that's why it's awesome. In fact, the Gemara, why would Simcha be a problem on Yom Tif? That would be in the Ruach of Yom Tif to be Simcha. That's the whole Indian. Sameach v'toiv lev, like it's in the version of Tavkov Chavtes. The Chi of Simcha is called Shivas Shmoinis Shivas Me'achag. So there's a Chi of Simcha, so what's wrong with getting married? So the Gemara brings a number of different tirutzim. Hezbeirim, that's it. So Shita Shmuel is ein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha. Shita's Rav is because samachta b'chagecha v'loi b'shtecha. Gemara brings other tirutzim, Teirach, Chash Betel Perivivia. People can wait dafka for Yontif because it's Shmak time to get married. You don't have to make it under a Suda. That's the four mahalchim in the Gemara. Fine. So what's Pshat ein ma'arvin simcha b'simcha? So Tosfos already points out that's Gemara in the Hemshich. The Gemara learns from Shlomo HaMelech that the Gemara has some kind of a Joshua. The Shlomo HaMelech preempted Chanukas Habayis, and he didn't put Chanukas Beis HaMikdash with Chag HaSukkos. He split them up because there's an Indian Nati Ma'arav, the Simcha of the Beis HaMikdash with the Simcha of Chag HaSukkos. Ein Ma'arav Simcha, that's the Makar. And Tosfos says it's the real Joshua. It's Xeris HaKosuv, Kedarsh Lakam, Kedarsh Shloimeh. And then Tosfos brings the Yerushalmi. That the Yerushalmi has a different Makar from Yaakov Avinu, that Lavan was Makbid, Malish was Zois. You married Leah, I'm not letting you marry Rachel until you finish the Simchas Nisuin from Leah, from the Sheva Brachas from Leah, and that's the Makar the Yerushalmi brings. That's the Makar that the Rambam quotes. The only Makar the Rambam quotes for Ima Arvin is in Hilchos Ishus, and he quotes there at the time of the Yerushalmi, which the Achrein and first year Rambam pick up. What's the Hezber B'chlal? So it's Xeris HaKosuv. We have two Makaris from Chazal. It says Tosfos K'tzas Tam L'Davar. Tosfos is Moisav Tam, which is not an interesting thing. I don't know why Tosfos felt the need, but we'll see. Maybe I have a mouth. Tosfos says the Tam is Al-Zayvi. You find by mitzvahs chavilas that when the Torah wants you to do a certain mitzvah, they want you to focus and have a leif party for that mitzvah. When there's an inyan of simcha from the Torah, when there's a mitzvah simcha, some kind of simcha, the Torah wants you to be misamech with that inyan b'lachut, to have a leif party for that simcha, and not to for Mishnah Ryan and be distracted by a different simcha, and the male be megareya one simcha from the other simcha. That's the Pashup Shah. Fine. So I say, the Gemara is not clear if we're darshaning four different reasons for the same halacha, stam that it's just different timing, and mashmos darshanik benayu, or are there nafkaminas between the different timing of ein ma'arvin, l'umas, v'samach v'chagecha v'lo v'shtecha, piravirivya, and Bemis in the Hemshich, the Gemara seems to ask by Erev HaRegel, when the Gemara has a Kashma Erev HaRegel, the Gemara says it's Shver L'Kuli Alma, the problem with they had to get married Erev HaRegel, the Gemara seems to bunch all the reasons together and say it's Shver L'Kuli Alma, and the Gemara goes through the different reasons, if it's Mishum Simcha, if it's Mishum Tircha, Pirivya. So is there any nafkamina between the timing? So it's not clear. It's not clear. The Gemara is not clear. What's that?
The Gemara sounds like there would be nafkaminas. That's the answer.
The Gemara is like it could be nafkaminas, but the Gemara Lamai said there's no nafkamina. Lagabe Erev HaRegel, the Gemara Lamai says it's Shver L'Kuli Alma, and the Teretz is the Teretz L'Kuli Alma. So is there any Lamai and nafkamina? So very interesting that some Achronim decided that there's very much is a nafkamina, and that's how they worked out different theories and sugyas and different problems with places in the Rishonim, as we'll see. So it starts with the Magen Avram. The Magen Avram tainas that there's an afkamina like this, that let's before the Magen Avram. Is there any Makar Rishonim that's an afkamina? So the one Makar Lahedyon Rishonim that's an afkamina is Rashi and the Rif. Rashi and the Rif says if you have a drasha only with Machal Gecha Lo B'Shtecha, so that's a din in Yontif. It's a halacha min hilchus hachag to be mesameach b'chag v'loy b'Shtecha. But chutz from that, is there any problem with Ein Ma'arvin? There's no problem with Ein Ma'arvin. That's how Rashi learns. The feel the sheet of Ein Ma'arvin is simple. It's any two simples. We see, I don't know if it's mamish any two simples, but any two simples ba'etzem. Mash ein kain. If you learn mesameach b'chagech, it's a special din in Yontif that Yontif requires that you should be sameach kol kula in the chag and not in anything else. And the Kach before l'chayr in Toysis, and the Toysis daf chesam beis moed katan, the Toysis is bothered making a bris milah, pidyon haben b'chol HaMoed. Is there an issur to make a pidyon haben b'chol HaMoed? So Toysis says that lefi the shita of Ein Ma'arvin, it would be a problem. So Toysis says, but if we don't paskin the sheet of Ein Ma'arvin, we only paskin Samach B'chagecha, so it's okay. So Toysis also before this nafkamina that if you just hold of Samach B'chagecha and you don't hold the Ein Ma'arvin, so there's a special din not to get married on Yontif. And chutz mizeh, there's no issur. Mashenk, if you hold Ein Ma'arvin, it's koilo much more simchas. That's what Toysis is bothered by Sudas Bris and Sudas Pidyon Haben. Fine. So that's what's l'chayr mavur in Rashi and the Rif and in Toysis. That potentially, if you don't paskin Ein Ma'arvin, and we'll see, it's like a shayla in the place, you paskin the tam of Ein Ma'arvin. If you don't paskin Ein Ma'arvin, it's nichal, a lot of questions that Toysis is bothered by. Could you make a bris milah on Chol HaMoed? Could you make a sudas pidyon haben Chol HaMoed? So if you don't paskin Ein Ma'arvin, so v'samach b'chagech, it's a special din, and nisuin b'moed v'sulimi.
זה נשכים זרס הכוסוף.
נכון.
אז זה מערבים שמחה ושמחה. זה נור הלימוד, האסמכתה.
זה שאלה, זה דרייס דרבן. This is quotation again. Okay. So that is mitzad Rishonim. That's the pashup shot. That Ein Ma'arvin is a halacha koilelas all two simchas. Mashen kein b'samach b'gerech dem yontif. Now, the Magen Avram Karban Asanal Achronim decided and learned that there's another nafkamina between the two drushes. So the Magen Avram, given talk from Memvav, has a kash from Toysis. Because the Gemara is mavur that there's an isser in Isuin b'mayid, there's even Isuin b'lvad, b'li suda. You're not allowed to get married without a suda. And Toysis and that from Zayin Ksuba says that you're allowed to get married without a suda. So there's a steer. So whatever, Toysis says the sugya kipshuta. The Gemara and Daf Ches and Daf Yud Ches and Mavur, and that's what the place gets. So we pass, you're not allowed to get married with Chol HaMoed even without any suda. How could Toysis say that there's a heter nisuin? So Zok the Magen Avram shtikol Torah. That if you learn like the Tam Zok the Magen Avram of Samachta b'chagecha v'lo b'shtecha, that's only with the suda. Because what's Simchas HaChag? Basar Yayin. So Samachta b'chagecha v'lo b'shtecha means the Simchas HaChag of Basar Yayin is dafka, that's what's aser, and v'lo b'shtecha, don't make a suda of a nisuin. But Stam nisuin ba'am would be mutter, lefi the Josh of Samachta b'chagecha v'lo b'shtecha. Mashen kein Zok the Magen Avram, if you learn like the tzad of Ein Ma'arvin Simchas b'zimcha, who said anything about food? So even the etzem nisuin, so the tzad that we pass in Zok the Magen Avram, this is a very big nafkamina ladina. The Magen Avram is mechiach nishtikol Torah that we pass in Ein Ma'arvin, because we pass in nisuin itself is also even without a suda. Zok the Magen Avram, that's a hichacha that we pass in the tam of Ein Ma'arvin. Because if we pass in the samachta, it would be okay to get married without a suda. And the Magen Avram mishum hai chiluk, the Magen Avram is chiluk on Shulchan Aruch. We'll see how this works. The Magen Avram just says like it's very simple. What's your?
Samach is only on the level of.
Only on not the level of suda. He says that's the taisha of the pasuk. What does samachta b'chagecha mean? Simchas HaChag means sham lechagiga, sham simcha means eating basar. So Zok there, samachta b'chagecha, the basar that you're eating, the suda, is only b'chagecha, v'loy b'ishtecha. Don't make that suda for ishtecha. Mashen came beside Ein Ma'arvin Simcha. Any simcha ba'alma, just getting married alone is also nichal in this isser. And the Magen Avram is mechiach from the fact that we paskin that nisuin bilvad is aser, that we paskin the tzad of Ein Ma'arvin Simcha.
זה טרספרייטיק, ist man mag dem extra friert, für diese und die Scheide von Ein Ma'arvin Simcha ושמחה. Die Thomas kommt Toyset, Zontef, Freitag, Shish und Pesach, ist in der Früh, ist man mag dem, כדי זה und die Scheide von Ein Ma'arvin Simcha ושמחה.
Okay. So this is the Magen Avram. The Karban Asanal in the last shtickle in the first parak. Starting Asanal. Okay. Azoi, you want to get up? Yes. Okay. Make sure it's not in Hebrew. Okay, so the Korban Nesanel is Chol Magid Ram and Tainus Fakert, and it's maybe it's not clear. The Hoichach Magid Ram, at least he's masbir that Samach B'Chagecha Simchas Chag means food, because that's what the Chiyuv Simchas Chag Shalei Chagiga Shalei Simchas is food. So Magid Ram at least has episodes, but the Korban Nesanel Tainus Punkt Fakert. He says, so the Korban Nesanel learns, it sounds like it's a hakpada. So if there's a hakpada, that means even assume by itself. If I care from Magen Avram. Magen Avram learns bechagecha means food. So I can learn the drasha. Even just Nisuin. When we eat the Korban Nesanel, and Im Arvid Simcha B'Simcha means a real Simcha means only B'Suda. Not clear what the Hichacha Korban Nesanel is. It's a shtickle makatzer, but he ties everything's punch like from Magen Avram. So the Maisa Bein the Magen Avram, Bein the Korban Nesanel have an afkamina, whether Nisuin is mutter or aser only with a Suda or even B'li Suda. They're both masking that lahalacha kaim alon, that Nisuin is aser b'chol hamoed even without a Suda. Right now. It's just an afkamina. The Fi the Magen Avram, the fact that we paskin Nisuin is aser, even B'li Suda, is a raya that we paskin in Marvin. According to the Korban Nesanel, it's not a raya we paskin inside of a Marvin. Fine. Now, that's mitzad the two timing of Samach B'Chagecha or in Marvin. Now, what about mitzad the drashas of the Yerushalmi, the Umas, the drasha of the Bavli? Mitzad learning the Isser in Ma'arvin from Shlomo Melech and Chanukah Sabayis and the Chag HaSukkos, or from Mali Shavuos? Is there an afkamina there? So it's not right there. Not before anyway there's an afkamina. The Maisa the Ritva says Lahedya in Chedushim Chesed Beis that V'Samachta B'Chagecha that even from in Ma'arvin zok the Ritva. So you can't make a bris milah with a chasana. You can't make a peinar with a chasana. Zok the Ritva, but shtei mishtois, two chasanas together, okay. Why zok the Ritva? Because that's not either simcha or simcha, it's menecha. So shtei mishtois b'yachad are okay. So the Magia in the Rav Kook Ritva points out with l'chayra ha'ara, we'll see if it's muchrach, that l'chayra the Ritva is not like Yerushalmi. L'fi the Bavli, you learn from Shlomo HaMelech, what's the Makar Fein Maris and Simchas, two was under Simchas, based on Mikdash and Chag HaSukkos. Hashenkin L'fi Yerushalmi, the whole Makar is from the same Min Simcha. Malish Shavuos was talking about two chasanas, shtei mishtois.
Why would
Yaakov Avinu is coming. Because Yaakov Avinu shtei nashim, so l'chayra l'fi the Ritva, that's mutter. Yaakov Avinu would have been Seder Gomer. He could have. There's no problem with Malish Shavuos because
Yaakov Avinu was one person. It would be two chasan and two kavos. It's not a problem.
Ma'ishnof, it's one person. It's menachad again. If the yisoid is menachad, so I think that is you're right, lahalacha. But this is what the Magi is tiny is a time. We have to answer the time. Menachad is not either. Either simcha means you shouldn't have a late pony to do different types of simchas. But let's say you marry 3 nashim, and you're making 5 different brachas all at once. It's all the same min b'mina. That's what the Ritva says. L'chayr that would potentially be an afkamina about the Yerushalmi. It's not a different simcha. It's the same sub simcha. It's min echad min. So you're right. It's 2 different simchas. That's the Ritva's chiddush. The Ritva says it's min echad. It's not a problem. So l'chayr the min echad would be not like Yerushalmi. That's what Magia there points out. L'chayr it's a tiny. We'll see if it's more. Yeah. What do you think?
If you don't say it's a chiluk between one person, one man, or few men, then you have the same kind of the Rambam also. The Rambam also says one person that's married.
People coming over the same.
Yes, very good. We're going to get back to the Rambam. Right, we false point again. That l'chayra l'fi the Ritva. If in Ma'arvin is doesn't min echad, no, then it would stim. Meaning the Rambam's talking big. The Rambam says you can marry many nashim, so it would be good.
So otherwise you'd have a kash in the Rambam.
Right.
You don't make the kolak in the
What would be the kash in the Rambam? Okay, l'fi the Ritva is good. L'chayra. Right, the Ritva says min echad is okay. So the Rambam could say in Ma'arvin. But min echad is okay. That's why you're allowed to marry. Oh, you're asking about the simcha. Yeah. I'm sorry. You're asking about the simcha. No. 1 second. Let's just get it clear. The Rambam says lahedya al pi mali shavuos that you're not allowed to have simchas shtei nashim b'yachad. Pashas sheva brachas. You're right. When you marry 5 nashim, talk to the Rambam. You can marry them together. You can't be mesamech with them together. You can't have l'chayr the sheva brachas. We'll see now. You can't have 5 sheva brachas together. L'chayr that's against the Ritva. Right. Well, it's shver. Meaning the mice it's shver. The Rambam is not like Ritva, right? Ritva says l'chayra, even one guy can marry 5 nashim and have all the sheva brachas all together because it's minechad l'chayra. Unless you're mechal between 1 man and two men, which l'chayra the Ritva is calm that it's minechad, you shouldn't be a chayra.
Are that the Yosef that not having a full simcha
What's the tzad l'hakal in the Ritva?
No, you see, the reason why you shouldn't do the samech. at once.
The reason why the Rambam says because Ein Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha. Just pointing out that if the ritual is not a problem.
No, so what's the time of that? Why not?
What's the time of Ein Ma'arvin?
Yeah.
The time of Ein Ma'arvin, what Kipshuta is like Tosha says, a shtickle time, that when you mesameach with two things at the same time, or two bits at the same time, so one is megareach, the other one from focusing on them, leif pumping. Being here focused.
Could it be the ritual? By some, what's the megareach and the chasna stuff? Why would that allow the wedding?
You're asking around and happening after the Nisun?
Yeah.
Good question. You have to get back to it. We're going to get back to that. That's right.
In the mitzvah, we're saying on this pashut that it's min echad.
It's not pashut, but I'm saying all he tells us is min echad.
It can't be in the Ritva Yom Chavilas, as long as it's saying mitzvah, it's not Chavilas, as opposed to in Regesh, like it doesn't. Are we saying the Ritva more of the same type of Simcha Klape feeling, or Klape, it's the same mitzvah?
I don't know if it's in the feeling out of I'm just telling you, the Ritva says that the halacha of Ein Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha only applies to shtei minei mitzvahs. One is
Mitzvahs, meaning nothing to do with.
No, but he's not talking about Chavilas, he's talking about the sugi of Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. He's saying the Simcha B'Simcha is two Bezundera Simcha, two Sugei Simcha. But if you have 5 Simchas, but it's all the same min Simcha, he's not talking about Chavilas, he's talking about the actually it's a little different. That would be different meaning. He's saying.
Maybe that's the
okay. Let's just get what he's saying. He's saying is that l'chayr ben echad is okay. So if you marry 5 women, l'chayr you can have all the parties together, everything together. It would be ben echad. The halacha, the Rambam, and Shulchan Aruch and evidence how to face it. Not like that. We're going to get back to that Rambam. I'm just pointing out that is there potentially enough community between Bab and Yerushalmi? Potentially yes. Just like there's potentially enough community between Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha and B'Simach B'Chagecha V'Lo Yishtecha K'divrei HaMagen Avraham V'Karban Hasam. So what's halacha l'maisa? Halacha l'maisa, it's clear in Tovkuf Memvav Baruch that we pass in the time of Ein Ma'arvin. Even without the Magen Avraham Shtickl Torah, the Magen Avraham proves it. The Magen Avraham Shtickl holds that if you ask her Nesuin Bali Suda, that's only the fee the time of Ein Ma'arvin. Whether you hold like that Shtickl Torah or not is not negated to halacha. La halacha, the Magen Avraham is certainly right because like all the places we speak out that the Rosh, the Rif, the Rambam all bring the time of Ein Ma'arvin. So Ma'aseh Klal we pass in time Ein Ma'arvin to first the tour and the Beis Yosef and getting the oh, right. Especially with that community. But if there's going to be enough community, we certainly pass in like that time Ein Ma'arvin Simcha Mitzad Echad. Umitzad Sheni, we certainly pass in as soon as Aser even Buli Suda. Right. So according to the Magen Avraham, it's very gishmak. Ein Ma'arvin tells me as soon as Aser Buli Suda. According to the Karban Hasam, I might have to say we also agree with the time of B'Samach B'Chagech V'Lo Yishtecha. Be'emes, the Rambam himself alludes to both timing. He brings also the Samach, but also Ein Ma'arvin. It's clear that we pass in Ein Ma'arvin. So, what's the biggest raya that we pass in Ein Ma'arvin? Is the problem that Rishonim and what's brought the halacha the poskim had that once we have a sugi b'chal, right? If you don't pass in Ein Ma'arvin, you just deny the whole sugi. But once we have the sugi and the halacha of Ein Ma'arvin Simcha, it becomes a shayla. Kam becomes Shulchan Aruch that being Ma'arvin. Other simchas. Because like Rashi and Derf point out, that once it's not just a din of V'samachta V'chagecha, V'lo Yishtecha, of Nisuin and Moed, it's not just Nisuin and Moed, so then we have to ask ourselves all kinds of questions. That's what places Moed and Chesed Beis, and that's what brought in the place. Could you make a Sudas Bris Milah on Chol Moed? Could you make a Pidyon event on Chol Moed? Could you make a Sudas Nisuin on Purim? Could you, and from here it's this galgal to all kinds of other shaylas of ear of Simcha B'Simcha. And Tosfos is makabel this question, Lafi the Shita Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. That's the one nafkamina that's clear. Right? The Magen Avraham Shtickl Torah L'char is not Mukhrach. And what we're saying in the ritual see is not Mukhrach. What's clear is what Rashi says, and Tosfos is Mavur, that if you hold Ein Ma'arvin, then it's not dafka necessarily just Simcha Sachag and Nisun. So in Mela, Tosfos says, what's with Bris Milah? How can you make it with this Bris? So Bismanoi, maybe it's better. So Tosfos, Bris Milah is okay, because Tzar Dinuka, there's no Simcha. Right. Tosfos, what about Pidyon Aben? So Tosfos get stuck, and there are some Rishonim that Taka say even though Bris Milah is okay, because Tzar Dinuka, Pidyon Aben is Taka Aser. Bismano they're Mekel because you have no choice; it just fell out like that. But if it's a Sudas or Mitzvahs Pidyon Aben with a Suda, Shaloi Bismano, you can't make a Chol Moed. That's the Tzak with Marivail. In Shin Hey in your day in Sif Yud Alf, their mom brings 2 days. Are you allowed to make a Sudas Pidyon Aben? Shaloi Bismano with the Chol Moed. It says Ramah Yesh Arsim Yesh Matir. The Chayniker that it's mutter. That's our most shot.
By Mila?
No, Mila is Tzar Dinuka, so it's mutter b'chol.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Meaning it's not enough. Obviously, there's some simcha by Bris Milah, but it's not enough. It doesn't go into the gather of simcha because it's Tzar Dinuka, so you don't say simcha l'mayne. Ashake your Pidyon Aben, it's under the.
Why can't you make the Sudas Pidyon Aben later? Do the Pidyon Aben?
That's a good question. I don't know if you can't. I don't know if you're not Yotzei, but obviously it sounds like I'm saying that there's an Indian to be masmich the suda to the mitzvah, the mela, you're allowed to. That's the question. Could you or do you have to? Maybe according to other shikushim, I can push it off. You know, the Pri Chadash says we push off Sudas Purim for that reason. When Purim falls on Shabbos, the Pri Chadash says, you know, the halacha is the machlokes, and we push off Sudas Purim till Sunday. The Pri Chadash says because ain't married, so you can't make the Sudas, you make it on Sunday. So that's, we'll see. That's a big chiddush. Shabbos, the Meiri and our sugya is before that. There's Simcha. Machar again. If Sudas Pidyon Aben has Simcha, then Shabbos gets it. There's no din Simcha and Sudas Pidyon Aben. Norfos, it's a joyous occasion. There's no mitzvah Shalom Pidyon Aben either. No mitzvah being Mitzvah, it's so special. It's a Norfos. The Indian of doing a mitzvah make a special Suda.
Could be Shabbos days.
What? Could be, yeah, Yom Tzvachas say that. But even without that, I don't think you need that. That's what the Meiri says. The Meiri by us says that Loi Boy Chol HaMoed is a Ma'aretz Simcha Simcha. Afilu Yom Tov, that's Iker Simcha, and Zok there. Afilu B'Shabbos Shloi Nemer Boy Simcha. Afal Pikin, you have the Isra Ma'aretz Simcha. Because you see what the Meiri by us says. Because Lamaisa, just like Pidyon Aben, once you have this problem with Ma'aretz Simcha, it's not a din Simcha where the Torah says, you know, there's a Chiyuv Simcha. Fine. So Lamaisa LaHalacha. What?
The Meiri has to do with the fact that people did make Sudas Mila on Shabbos. This was Maisim Shabbachoyom.
Sudas Mila is just right.
No,
Mila
according to this,
the Suda. Yeah, the Suda also. Once it's Bismano, it's Motor because it's Doich. Because then it's not, you're not being Ma'arev, just came up. But let's about Suda's bris Mila Shalom Bismano. Let's say you made a bris Friday afternoon, you want to make a Suda.
It won't happen on Shabbos anyway.
It'll happen on Shabbos. Friday afternoon you made a bris and you want to make the Suda's bris on Shabbos. Yes, there's a Shabbos. Maybe there's a Shabbos. Yes. So la halacha, in all these Shabbos, bris Mila, Pidyon Aben, bris Mila is better because it's hard to do, but Pidyon Aben, let's say, Mashal. So halacha is it's mutter, that's what it's passing by Yosin Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Shinei and Yeridea, that Pidyon Aben is not a problem. Why? So Tosfos says, so one teretz in Tosfos says, because we don't pass it in Marvin. Tosfos got stuck. Tosfos knew that everyone makes Pidyon Aben, it's on Chol HaMoed. So in fact, Tosfos, how could you do it? Tosfos must be, we don't pass it in Marvin. Now, like we pointed out, halacha we do pass it in Marvin. We've learned all the Shem. So then maybe we should machmer on Pidyon Aben. Teretz is the second teretz of Tosfos. Zog Tosfos v'oy yishloiman the loicha shibi simcha b'simcha ki im seudas nesuin bilvad. Tosfos says even if you do paskin in market simcha b'simcha, Pidyon Aben is not such a great simcha, and maybe even why then Shabbos wouldn't be such a great mitzad dinei simcha. Pidyon Aben is not such a big simcha. It sounds like darkness. There's darkness in simcha. Not everything has the same tzura and the same chashivas of simcha. That it's a shter of ein ma'arvin. That's only by nesuin with moed. Fine. So even though we're not going now, right, we're not paskening v'samach v'chef l'shtecha. Tosfos is saying one side is we don't pasken in ma'arvin. Second side is even we do pasken in ma'arvin. It's only a dark of simcha as over nesuin. Now, tzorachin harei the etzem din. If you learn from the Bavli, Yishem Shlomo HaMelech wasn't talking about nesuin. He's talking about Chanukah's Beis Hamikdash. Young, how can Tosfos say ein ma'arvin simcha was only nesuin? I mean, it's not only Nisuin. The whole Makar is not from Nisuin. The Makar is from Chanukah's Beis Hamikdash with Chag HaSukkos. L'chorei, the Pashtus, Havayis HaTosfos just means that Tosfos says, don't start making a tushal to every joyous occasion, every simcha, Pidyon Aben, bris Mila, and every little simcha you're going to make, that, it's ein ma'arvin. Now, Chanukah's Beis Hamikdash wasn't there. I don't know, but it was very, very unique and Yotzim Ben HaKlal. It was Shivas Yomim, they were Doicha Yom Kippur, it was, you know, again, we'll see exactly what it's all about. So I think that's Tosfos' point. We know that in Ma'arv, we have a gilur from Tzmach v'chagech v'l'mishtecha, that soon we know is the Gres Simcha. So anything less than that, you can't bring a right from the Beis Hamikdash. The teretz is shiny Beis Hamikdash. You can't learn from Beis Hamikdash anything else either, except for Nisuim, because that we know Lahedya is a problem from Einois Moshe B'Moyed and from Tzmach v'chagech v'l'mishtecha.
So super simple.
What?
That was like a much more.
What? The Beis Hamikdash was a davar miyuchad. That's what I call it. Once in a lifetime, once in a history thing. So then you can't. That's what Tosfos is saying. So don't make it too. That's why it's like a big pele. Bring the Minchas Pita and Arik has a suffix that even if we pass get bris meal is okay and Pidyon Aben's okay, but if someone buys a house and wants to make the Chanukah buys the Chol HaMoed, it's okay. Maybe it's awesome. Because even though Tosfos is makeup can I get Pidyon Aben bris meal, Chanukah buys that's a makar. So he himself says, "V'yesh l'chalak obviously it's pella." What's the shaykhs? We're talking about Chanukah's Beis Hamikdash. 7 days. They were doing Kippur. When you buy a house, you have to fast on your Kippur. Okay, you make it. So so it's Tzarchi, and that's what Chorich supposed to do. Now, the way the Goyin brings this halacha to matter Pidyon Aben and bris Mila. Again, bris Mila is easier because it's hard to do, but Pidyon Aben there. So the Goyin has a different way of saying it, and that's when it comes from the Dark Devotion, comes from Tanakh. So the Goyin, and even though we pass in Ma'arvin, this is the Biyah Grov by Yosin Tavkov Menvov, also in Chinei, also we'll see in Ebenezer. The Goyin says And even though we pass in ein ma'arvin, there's no nafkemina bechlal between the shita ein ma'arvin and the samachta b'chagecha. Not like the Magen Avraham says his shtickle Torah this way. The Karban Nesanel says the shtickle Torah that way. Which one is with the Suda, which one is without a Suda, there's no nafkemina. It's mashmal shdarshini kavanai just time of the milsa, but the halach is all the same. So meaning when Chazal say in ma'arvin simcha, we want to know which simcha. So Tosfos was be'emes, that's what the guy is saying. Tosfos, Rishonim were falpal in that shayla. Some Rishonim were machriya that in ma'arvin is taka marchiv the iser more than the samachta. Ula halacha zok the guy nachran. That's the what he's saying. Pshat the Ovi Shlomo Tosfos. The maskanas Tosfos is that no, we learn all the protei in ma'arvin from the samachta b'chagecha. So whatever the samachta b'chagecha l'mishtecha tells us, that's what we imported to in ma'arvin. So we may still have a problem with Purim more than the samachta b'chagecha because. Let's say if Purim was a Chag, but I'm saying not Chag, but let's say Purim was a Yontif Azoi via Chag, so then theoretically we would have a problem. I mean, there might still be enough community to Smach L'Chagech, which is only Gimel Regalim. But the point is that going the Protei Hadin are all learned one from the other. There's no enough community in it. And the Fizeh, that's the Pshat Tosfos. That's what where did Tosfos get this from? Tosfos is asking in Ma'arvin we learned from Shlomo HaMelech. So who told you anything about why is Pidyon Aben different than Nisuin? So the going like deciding on his owners, Tosfos deciding on their own. Yeah, the Suin's a bigger simcha than Bris Milah and the Pidyon Ben. So Kipshuta, that's Muvan. L'chayr it is. We make a bigger simcha. Shemis in Mishta, Behilula, like Chasana. Kipshuta, people understand, but it's hard to be Keveya. So Dr. Goin, it's coming from the Samachta L'Mishtacha. Chazal in Megala. That is the simcha. The simchas Nisuin is the simcha, which is a shter to other simchas where it's shayach in Ma'arvin simcha.
And then the Shlomo is a real kind.
So what's Rosh Hashanah? Shiny Beis Hamikdash, yeah, exactly. I don't know. You can't learn from Beis Hamikdash to other things. That's what places is clarity. There's one side that and who I didn't pick it up in, and that's the Marivile past, and he asked her to make a pidyon aben Chol HaMoed Shlo Bizmana, and on Purim for the same price. Kamash V'lo Mahalacha, it's not like that. Fine. So now let's go to Purim for a second. So what's the halacha L'gabe Purim? Once we establish that the halacha is ein ma'arvin simcha, we do paskin. Not just the tzad of the samachta. Whether there's enough kamina, if either there's not enough kamina, we pass in ma'arvin simcha. So Tosfos could say, fine, that's only Nisuin, not Bris Milah, Pidyon Aben. Those are lower daggers of simcha. It's not machayev as much simcha, and Mela, it's no problem. But what happened? So what's the din of making a Nisuin on Purim? So Nisuin is the one place where we know there is ein ma'arvin, and Purim is also a yontif. It's a yontif midrabanan, but it's a yontif. It's Yimei Mishta V'Simcha. It's Yimei Simcha. So once there's Simcha on Purim, Azoi V'Yer Regel, Hagam that's midrabanan. So l'chayr we should have a problem being married simcha. And that was a machlok. That's a shayla that the Rishonim are all handle in Tafresh Sadek of Sivches. So Shulchan Aruch is Mekel. Beis Yosef is Mekel based on Shuvas Rashba. The Rashba said, and the Rashba was asked a shayla: is ein ma'arvin a problem of Nisuin b'Purim? The Rashba said, no. V'samach l'chagech l'mishtech. That's what the Rashba answered, and that's what Beis Yosef passed in Shulchan Aruch. Now, the Magen Avraham has a whole few different issues trying to work out all the different timing of ein ma'arvin, and the maskana of the Magen Avraham is that Shulchan Aruch is very shver. It's very nice quoting a Rashba, and the Rashba is going with the shita of samach b'chagech l'mishtech, and because samach b'chagech Purim is like ikri chag, so there's no b'chagech l'mishtech, so maybe can make to have Nisuin on Purim. It says the Magen Avraham l'didan that I already proved. This is the Magen Avraham l'shitase that he held there were two things. There's ein ma'arvin and samachta, and he held there was an afkamina l'dina, and he proved das Shulchan Aruch that we pass inside of ein ma'arvin. And l'dina, he's for sure right, like we pointed out from all the Rishonim. We pass in ein ma'arvin. Says the Magen Avraham, l'didan that we pass in there's a problem of ein ma'arvin simcha simcha. So then we can't use the Rashba's school. The Rashba's school is l'shitase. Like he says, the Rashba's words are samachta gechav l'mishtecha and Purim's lo yekri chag. So then how could you be mekel? So you can't be mekel on Magen Avraham, and you have to push off. You have to be makdim or push off the chasna. You can't make a chasna on Purim. Zok Magen Avraham. Ksav Sefer as Tshuva says that maybe the mechaber means you can make an assume without a shtickle Torah, you can make an assume without a suda. It's not the Pasha. The Pasha says you can make an assume in Gansel. So Lafi the Goin, and that's what the Goin says over there. So it's already nicha. And that's the Goin over there quotes the Darkei Moshe. Darkei Moshe has a whole big aricha saying that even though Marivayel, Gedolei Ashkenaz, were some Gedolei Ashkenaz were machmer, you can't make a chasen on Purim. Darkei Moshe says, I'm going to write hanirali that it's mutter to make a chasen on Purim. And the first thing he says is Betzim Ke'ein Divrei Rashba. And that's what the Goin quotes. The Goin quotes from the Darkei Moshe over there on Shulchan Aruch. And he says he also saw the kingdom that they made with chasnas on Purim. There was a minhag like that. Sagt the Rama, Purim likes it. So the point is, you could learn that it's just like the Rashba, that Purim is not a chag. So we passed in frek the Magen Avraham Eibar Simcha Simcha. So Zok the Goy, that's what the Goy is masbir, what the Ramah is saying, and that's what he says in the head in Hemshah. And even though there's different time in, and we pass in time Eibar Arvin, the emes there's no nafkamina Medina Beinayim, and we learn the pratim din of Eibar Arvin. We learn from Samach B'Chagecha. So just like so now we're saying like this: Samach B'Chagecha has two tonight. First, like Taisha says, it's dafka nisuin and not pidyon aben and not whatever, and it's dafka B'Chagecha, B'Chag V'loy B'Purim. And that's the Gzeres HaKosov. And that's what's Megala on Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. On Ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. And Mela Purim doesn't have the Darga B'Chag. So Mela, no problem, Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. Fine. So the question is, and that would be the answer. That's how the Goyen is answering the time of the Magen Avraham. So what's the pshat? Why is there talking no? It's so I saw Yesh Irvin that because Purim is not. What's the pshat? I mean, it's talking Simcha B'Simcha. Meaning again, we're saying there's a Gilui from Samachta onto Ein Ma'arvin. So we understand, I think, a little bit that Pidyon Aben. Pidyon Aben Nidcha is not exactly the same simcha as an Isu. Fine. But is Purim less of a simcha than Shal Shagam? So maybe because one's the rice and one's the different kabbalah. Could be. And that's one potential half. That sounds almost like the guy is saying the coffee. Maisa, if you look in the Darkei Moshe, he's saying Mamish a whole different var. But Chor whole Tesefes var at least. Zok the Ramah. Ube Purim leksiv rak mishta simcha, ube chol maiden sameach sagile. And then the Ramah Taka says that even though in Moikatim there's other time in the Gemara of Tircha, Pirivya, Indian Dina like Pligi, and that's what the Goyen quotes, it's no nafkamina, so since V'smach B'Chagecha only applies to Regalim, not to Purim. But the Ramah is saying before, what's the pshat that Purim is shining Yerega? Again, especially because we don't paskin the drasha of V'smach B'Chagecha. We paskin Ein Ma'arvin. The Goyen is just saying we apply all the rules to Ein Ma'arvin. So why should Purim be Gara? Because it's not Ikri Chag, but it's the same Indian. It says Yimei Simcha. So Zok the Ramah, because L'mais it says Mishta v'Simcha u'b'chol ma'idin v'sameach sagile. So the emphasis what it's mashma is like like in the Emek Bracha brings from Briskerov, this famous shtickle Torah, a chiluk between the Simcha of Regalim and the Simcha of Purim. By the Simcha of Regalim, Briskerov brought from the Medjid Shir Shirin, it's the Nagila B'Nischa Bach. That the Simcha on Yontif is a Hechatimsa to be Misameach with the Regel, Misameach with the Rebbeinu Shalom, Misameach Bach, the Medjid Shir's Bach is B'Kodesh Baruch Hu. So there's a Matar, so we do different things to bring us to a state of Simcha, like Kidei, Kiechi, that the Simcha should bring us to a Simcha B'Kodesh Baruch Hu, B'Chag, and whatever the Yonim of the Chag are. Hashem came, maybe. That's what the Ramah is saying. When it's Mishta v'Simcha, there's no Matara Acheres. The Matara is the Simcha Lein, the Mishta v'Simcha.
Okay, so it's the Yemei Simcha, the Simcha in these Yomim, saying just like you say, Smach B'Chagecha, the Simcha in the Chag.
You could learn the Lashon. Yeah, I don't know if this is the Raya. I'm saying, so the emphasis over there, the Emek Bracha is talking about, he's bringing a Raya from that Simchia of the Vesumi Ad Loyada. So Ad Loyada, so how do you come to Simchas? We don't find such a thing by Simchas HaRegel.
The Raya also.
So he's explaining the Nafkamina between. According to Briskerov? Just simple, whatever makes you happy. And that's the pshat. So since there's no other matara just to be happy, so whatever makes you happy. So getting married makes you happy also. Most people, it's being simcha to get married. Or to do anything else that makes you happy. And anything that's goyrim simcha, that's a matara, is the simcha. Once that's matara, is the simcha, that's enough. So there's no steer. So it's the pshat that we're not downgrading simchas purim, that its pshat is, it's not on the same dog, like Pidyon Aben sounds like Tosis just saying, Pidyon Aben is not such a, great simcha. Pidyon Aben nitcha, and bris milah started yinuka. Not of us, it's just a different surah of simcha.
It's not a steer, it's
exactly. Meaning, B'Chagecha is mechayev to have a leif pano yizok tois is dafka for the chag and not for anything else. Purim is mechayev to be misameh, b'chol midi. Whatever makes it happen. And Bemis, there's kam v'kam mipagim on Purim to be marbe simcha that chayv no shaykh to anything except just to be marbe simcha.
It's also a point of word, Shmini Yitzaris.
What?
It's also a point of word in Shmini Yitzaris.
What's it do Shmini Yitzaris?
I'm saying because the fact that whatever you're dealing just with the Chag, so now I want a separate day for me. So if we say we dafka dealing with the Chag, I wasn't. I was getting married also.
That's why there is a problem with Imar and Lagavish Minatzet.
Yeah.
No,
that's the Gebei Chag. The Gebei Chag.
Why is this problem with Arvin Sukkot? Because
Hashem wanted a Shmini Atzeres.
there's a special I need to be just in Sukkot. That's the whole reason that we need Shmini Sukkot.
So when you do on purpose, anyways, it's that's a simple.
That's what the Imar is talking about over there. The what?
I'm saying it's Adlo Yoda. And Purim, on Regal, you're Yoda, and I got
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Yoda.
That's what the Bracha says from the
But on
Surah.
Purim, it's Kosher and Boyada, so it's no steer because
Exactly.
it's a simple one.
This is Mamshah. You're saying the Amy Bracha. That's what he says. He's handling the Akiva. He says Shemati from Chol Salanter, the famous word that it's just a shear. So until Ashir the Mashishtacher, and then when you're oyster, you have to drink again. And he says Shemati agrees. This part.
Not that it's a minimal simple.
No, nothing was minimal. If I care, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where Marviach was at to say it's nothing. Exactly. It's just more neutral because you come out of Samchi or whatever makes you happy. So there's no other matter you have to come to something else. Alright, I'll go yes.
Now, is it practically wood stay from your parents? Whatever.
What
you doing all the day?
Depends what your
Matara for Purim.
yeah.
There's no Matara.
He's saying that Chazal
Here
listen, making sukkahs is also tears. The point is, we're talking about the simcha.
Just can't drink.
The tears is a different story. We're talking about the etzim simcha. The halachic problem is not the tears, it's the simcha. The simcha is the problem. The tears simcha is not a problem. But whatever's my simcha is okay. So that's the first part of the Ramah.
We can't pass it.
Right. No, I'm saying in terms of the
Okay. Now the Ramah is moisiv. L'choyer what's noch a teretz, noch a shlav in his teretz. That's his first teretz. That the reason why it's not a stira. So this is like Chaviyochel, another teretz to Magen Avraham Kash. In fact, Magen Avraham we pass it in Ma'arvin. So what is? So we said no. In Ma'arvin is called kulei nilmad from the Smach b'chagecha. So that's l'choyer a little bit shver l'gabi Purim because it's mamish nesuin and Purim is mamish in simcha. Teretz is a different surah of simcha. That's l'choyer the first part that the Ramah said. Zok the Ramah v'su he's moisiv noch a nehu. Damrina and Tani Rabbi Yosef. Dr. Ramah, what do you want to say? There's ein ma'arvin simchas Purim. Well, what does it say by Purim? Mishta v'simcha. So okay, the Gemara already tells us what that means. Mishta v'simcha. Tani Rabbi Yosef, you may mishta she'aser b'tainis. Simcha she'aser b'hesped. We times that pasku rabim davelos ma'hegist. Boy. The Sur, then he goes on to do the diet. It doesn't say anywhere there's an Isser in the Sur before. So what's this Tosefos of the documentation? So up there, you're telling me that there's a stira machma simchas Purim for Nisuin. What does it say already by Purim? Mishta v'simcha? Yeah, the Gemara tells us what that means. It means there's an Isser hesped and an Isser tainus. There's even a shita that there's avelos for Purim. Punkt Ramah holds there's no avelos for Purim. It's Machaber Paskin, the end of the Purim. But there is avelos for Purim. So what does that sound like? On Yontif, on the Regolim, there's no Purim. Why? There's no avelos. Why not? Because Simchas HaRegel, the Chiyav Samachta, the Yemei Simcha, the Chalois Shem Yontif is Doiche, the Regel the Rabbi, Kumar says, is Doiche avelos Diyah. So Ramah, you see here, there's no Simcha to be Doiche. So one could have understood from this Ramah a very, very big Kiddush. Then you're allowed to get married inside Echad.
And there's a veils.
Right, exactly. So what I'm saying is exactly. So you could learn that the Tosefos that the Ramah is saying that for there's no Simcha Purim. Who said anything about Simcha Purim? Purim, Simcha. So because that's what the Ramah is saying. He's saying I state in Chazal. The Megillah says, the pasuk says, Mishnah Simcha. It's like no, that just means you can't be maspid and you can't be misanin. Avelos, no problem. If there was Yemei Mish, if it was Be'emes and Yemei Simcha, there'd be no din Avelos. Be'emes Machoyks if there's Avelos or not. So the Sefer Mishnah Yavitz, who Be'emes, he's coming from this Darkei Moshe, other Mekoros, Taka has a tzad like that, and maybe this Shita, at least the Shita that holds there's Avelos for Purim holds. There's no mitzvah to be a Simcha on Purim. There's a mitzvah to make a Mishnah, and that's Yemei Mishnah the Simcha. And there's an Isser Hesped, an Isser Tainus, but Avelos is no problem, because it's not Etzem Yemei Simcha. And he's Medayik from the Psukim. In Megillah Sester, with Chazal and Mavur, that at one point first they try to make Purim Yontif. So when it says Yontif, it says Simcha, Mishta, Yom Tov. Meaning, when they try to make it a Yontif, it was Simcha, but Iker Yemei Simcha, which Nemela, you have to have a Mishta to have the Simcha. And all the Psukim, once they knocked off the Yontif, and Chazal saw it wasn't the Skayim, so then they said no Yontif. Then the Psukim don't say Simcha Mishta, they say Mishta B'Simcha. It's a Makdim Mishta. So he's Medayik, and once there's no Yontif, it's not Yemei Simcha Betzim. There's no Chiyav Simcha. So be'etzim it's just a chiyuv mishnah. Memela, mishas the mishnah, when you make a special sudas purim with the mishnah, that obviously brings some measure of joy. But there's no stira to avelos, and there's no chiyuv to be b'simcha the whole time, and there's not yimei simcha b'chal. There's no din of simcha on purim. There's a chiyuv to make a suda. So to make a mishnah, and that mishnah Mela brings to a shtickle suda.
Is the mishnah and the suda something different?
What? No, the mishnah is the suda. The suda's purim has a special suda that should be done with the mishnah, and that's a maisa that brings to some simcha, and that's it. Your exercise in 5 minutes and done. The rest of the day, someone could be sitting shit.
The whole thing with when we were discussing the bris and suda, this baker's the suda.
Right.
That's baker's simcha. So wouldn't it be also by this simcha purim? Baker would be the mishnah suda.
Right. I mean, the Ramah is not really referring to the Ramah is doicha that mishnah is just lafuki has but okay, that's what you're saying. It's just the chiyuv. Lagabi purim, it's just the chiyuv to make that suda, to make the suda. So you're saying that suda lane should be a ma'asim, should be a stira. So there, by it's not because it's just lafuki has but So the ma'asim says, you're supposed to be happy on purim. That's I think the pashtus understanding that there is a chiyuv simcha, and that's what the Rav writes in Minchas Asher and Purim, in the Mayadim of Purim, that Amad is a double pashat, it's chiyuv simcha on Purim, and the emes is a shtickle muchach b'nei Bey. So I'm not here. That might be also a din in the Suda. What?
The chiyuv yain could be separate.
Oh, the chiyuv yain comes from Mishnah. That's the point. There could be a chiyuv Mishnah. He has no problem with chiyuv Mishnah. There's a chiyuv Mishnah. So yain in the Suda, added Suda, that's chiyuv Mishnah. But simcha is saying no simcha. So Allah says, the Ramah himself, who's makel to get married on Purim, and he brings here, there's even a shita that you can sit shiva on Purim, right? The Ramah himself holds there's no avelos on Purim. So then it's a stira. If you're going to say this shtickle Torah, that whether or not Purim or Yimei Simcha is totally if there's avelos, no avelos, then that doesn't line up. Because the Ramah is saying that you can get married on Purim, and the Simcha of Purim is not a shter to the Simcha of Nisan. And the Ramah says in Yaharei, there's even a shita you can sit shiva. The Ramah passes you can't sit shiva. The Ramah Paskins, so what does that indicate? If you get Sa Yudal Tzai Tisol, that it's Yimei Simcha Bemis. And the Simcha of Purim, the Etzim Simcha, not just the Mishnah, the Etzim Simcha is Doiche Avelos. So then how could the Ramah say they had to get married?
Why not? It's not stira. Stira is still in between. Because it could be Sameach, whatever like he says over there. It can be Sameach however you want.
So that is what Mishnah Sayyid says. Mishnah Sayyid asks his kasha on the Ramah, and he says he's being Samech on the first eretz. That's the first eretz. Meaning the first eretz of the Ramah is clear, that it's a different surah of Simcha. But then if the Vesu is a different eretz, what is the Vesu? The Vesu is saying, you can sit Shiva B'chal, there's no Simcha. And so Avadi can get married. So what, that teretz, the Ramah didn't pass him like, okay, could be. Avenus, he's quoting the Shita, doesn't pass him, he's quoting the Shita of Avelis. Well, the Pshat is that even according to the Shita, you could sit Shiva. It's not the Pshat who says, no, Yimei Simcha. And the Drashas Chazal, that Mishnah is Lafuki Hesped, and the Simcha Lafuki, Mishnah Lafuki Tainis, and Simcha Lafuki Hesped, it's not the Pshat that it's not Yimei Mishnah Simcha, Kipshuta Shalukar, and Kipshuta Pashtas in Yana Shal Yom, that Purim's a day to be Mesamech, and Yeshua that HaKadosh Baruch Hu brought to Am Yisrael. So, none of us, the whole shtickle Torah in the Ramah here is like the first teretz. And it's just a hemshech, it's just a vesu. Now, what's the first teretz in the Ramah? It's a different surah of Simcha. Meaning, B'chag, there's a special matara of Nagilah v'nismach Bach, and it's Simcha B'chag, and Simcha B'akadosh Baruch Hu. Masha'enkin by Simcha Chazal, we're metaking, there's a matara of Simcha, the Simcha Alei.
What is questions on that? Like, normally a vesu means a different teretz? That's how Nacha they throw
even without an additional teretz, but it's not.
It's a build-up.
The Ramah indicates that there's no Simcha on Purim. Saying that you could read the Ramah like that. It's like, you're asking me if Ramah Simcha, what's Simcha? Simcha is just Lafuki Hesped Tainis. I'm just saying is that no. Avadi doesn't mean like it somewhat sounds that there's no Simcha, but rather means Avadi there is a Chiyuv Simcha. And Arvas, the Indian from Simcha on Purim is a different surah. So first of all, Zok the Ramah, it's a surah that's Kol Midid de Mesamchi. It's a matar of the Simcha Alei. And secondly, you see that Lamaisa there are certain kulas in the Simcha Purim that there's even a shita that the Shiva is not a stira. Why is Shiva a stira? Why is Avelos a stira to the Simcha Chag and not a stira to the Simcha Purim? Teretz is because it's a different surah of Simcha. There's no Kedusha Yom, there's no Esim Malacha. So I don't know exactly the pratim. I don't know if the Ramah himself knew the pratim. The Ramah is just pointing out that you find different halachas Lagabe Purim that are not negated to Regel because the different surah and each Simcha has its oifi and surah. So again, it's al derech what we're saying. It's not like Pidyon HaBen and Bris Bila where the Pashtas Mashmos is. It's the lower dark of Simcha. That's the greatest Simcha. It's Pidyon HaBen. Hashenki Purim is the greatest Simcha in the bell. So then if it's greatest Simcha should be Chav Ima Arvin like the Magen Ram Taka Paskins, there's the Ramah name. Simcha of Purim is a different surah of Simcha. It's a surah of Simcha that doesn't have a specific matar, it's just the matar is a Simcha. Aleph and Beis, it's even shaykh that that Simcha, that surah of Simcha, which is not Machas Kedusha Sayyid, not Yom Tiv, is not a steer Tavelis. So it's all just one hemshach and one vart that the Rambam is saying is that the Simcha of Purim is a different surah, and that's what the guy means ultimately. I think the guy quotes that emotion. That's what the guy means. No ma'arvin Simcha of Simcha, because the ma'isa the ma'arvin Simcha of Simcha we learned to aim ma'arvin is only from v'samachta b'chagecha. Thus say Simchas Nisuin with Simchas Hachag, which is up to Rabban. The tzura of Simchas Hachag is different tzura than the Simcha of Purim. Fine. So Ubezem is Yashiv, so we understand now Tafkuf Yom Vav, Tafresh Tzadik Vav. We understand why the Magen Taina is Lav Dafka Taina, even though some Achronim, Yosef and the Aruch HaShulchan says you can't. Says to be machal at the Magen Ram. The Taka should get married. They Taina the minig. The Magen Ram is being the Ramon. Sorry, is being made. The minig was to get married. They got married on Purim. So I don't know if it's the minig anymore. Well, Shulzana got married on a nidche. He not a nidche on a Purim Shulish. Oh, so Sheva Brachas, there's no problem. That's what we pass. We pass, you're allowed to get married every regular. If there's the Nisuin and not the Mesh.
Getting married when it's not your Purim.
What?
Getting married when it's not your Purim.
The Fida Machmir, you mean?
Yeah.
Fida Machmir, you made Simcha. It's both days. Just like both days, you're doing Chavelas and both days, shoot.
Even though you're not observing any of the other mitzvahs. Yeah.
Because that's not Makasha. Why is that day doing Chavelas? There is, yeah.
Outside usually on
Yeah. Which is the Chiddush, but that's it. So the Mishnah says there's a whole marach about that also. And the Emes, the Yemei Simcha, the Pratei Dinim are different on each day. So the Emes, there's Yemei Simcha 2 days from the Ganskos. Fine. Now, there's still one problem with the Sugya of Ein Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha, and that's the Rambam in Hilchos Ishus, and which is the Halacha in Even Ezer Shin Samach Beis. There the Rambam Paskins, Mechaber Paskins the Rambam. He says you're allowed to marry 10 women at once, but they all have different separate simcha. It sounds like you marry 10 women at one time, and they each get their own Sheva Brachas. Yesh L'Adam, Even Ezer Samach Beis Beis. Yesh L'Adam Lisa Noshin Rabois Ke'echad B'yoyim Echad, U'mevarech Birchas Sanim L'Kulim Ke'echad. Aval, L'Simcha Tzarech L'Smoyach and Kol Achas Simcha Ha'ru'uyo Lo. Each one gets their own din simcha. Psula Zayin, Almana Gimel, Ve'ein Ma'arvin Simcha B'Simcha. This is the Rambam in Hilchos Ishus.
So it's not asking the Yisroel itself.
What?
It's not asking the Yisroel itself.
So, Frank the base mayor, that this is the same sugya. The Rambam himself makes an indication this is the same. Obviously, there's only one sugya in Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha. It's the same in Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha in Hilchos Ishus. It's the same one from Hilchos Moed. Frank the base mayor and Shulchan Aruch Samach Beis that the Rambam in Hilchos Ishus got the whole thing backwards. What's the din Lagabe Moed? The Nisuin is Aser, just Nisuin, just to get married, the Adasud is Aser. Mashenkin, if you get married 5 minutes before Yontif, and the Gans Yontif is your Sheva Brachas, is the Suda, it's no problem. So where's the Chal, the Ir Simcha, B'Simcha, Lagabe Moyed? Dafka, the Maisa Nisuin, Harei Mekudesh, well not Harei Mekudesh, that's Erisin, but the Knisa L'Chuppah, the Harei Mekudesh as we know it, Chuppah of Kedushin, that's the problem, not Sheva Brachas. Frek the base mayor, here the Rambam says, Fakir. He says the etzem nisuin, marry 10 women all at once, no problem. Bring them all in the chuppah, one after the other, one or together. I don't know how exactly they were doing it. One big chuppah for everyone, no problem. And it's the Sheva Brachas that's the problem. It's put what? The Sheva Brachas. Whatever. It's not even Mishnah. Punkt verkehrt. Punkt verkehrt. It's not the halacha. You told me. Am I allowed to get married on Chol Moed without a suda? No. Isser Gomer Kuliyam, that's the halacha and Shulchan Aruch talking about. Now, am I allowed to get married 5 minutes before Yontif and then have the Suda? Be'ikar din, yes. The Magen Rambam's machmer, it's a shayla, but certainly the whole Sheva Brachas you're allowed to have. Says the Rambam, split up the Sheva Brachas, have 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Frank the base mayor, everything's backwards from Hilchos Yontif. The entire the Rambam's halacha in Ma'arvin here is totally backwards.
Why? The Knisa, the Rishusai has to be for each one separate.
No, that's forget. I'm saying Knisha Rishus. He's talking about the Nisuin. He's talking about the Chuppah. You're allowed to take them all to the Chuppah. That's the Ma'aseh Nisuin. Al Zen Nemar. That's the in Ma'arvin Simcha Simcha. You're not allowed to take a Kisha into Chuppah b'Chol Moed. So, yeah, question clear. It's base mayor. Sound base. Base mayor wants to say a shtickle Torah like this. That again, we saw that Achronim have this mahala, the nafkamina between Ein Ma'arvin and the Somach. This Meir says he has a shtickle Torah like this. If you look in the Rambam in Hilchos Yontif, so it's Meduyik in Perek Zayin by the din of getting married with Chol Moed. It's Meduyik. The Rambam quotes both Yisurim. Etzem Isser to get married, Nisuin, not just Eirus, Nisuin. And then he talks about the Simchas Nisuin, the Sudas Nisuin, the party, the marriage party, he speaks about it separately. And it's Mavur, Meduyik in the Rambam at least, like a Mishnah there is bothered. That the Etzem Nisuin is Mitzad V'Samachta. Samachta V'Kech V'Shtecha, that's what the Rambam, and the Etzem Nisuin, the Rambam says, Shema Tishtachach Simchas HaChag B'Simchas HaIsha. That sounds like a Samachta V'Chagech V'Shtecha. And then when the Rambam in the Hampshire talks about the Sudas Eirus and Nisuin, he says Eimar. So the base mayor, according to the Karmelisano, suggests in the Rambam al derech Karmelisano that Nisuin Alein is only Aser because of a Samach B'Chagech V'Shtecha. The party is Aser because of Eimar. So when you come to Hilchos Ishus, it's also good to marry 10 Noshim, just the Nisuin. That's for Samach B'Chagech V'Shtecha. There's no Chagech over here. It's just Nisuin. There's no Chag. And the Sudas Nisuin, which is Eimar Arvin, that's good. And that's why you have to split up the Sudas. The base mayor still obliges the Sarachim because the Maisa, in the end of the day, the Sudas Nisuin, which is also the Didan, is maybe only the first Sudas Nisuin or the Sudas Nisuin with the actual marriage, but not the whole Sheva Brachas. The whole Sheva Brachas is mutter to have the whole Sheva Brachas and HaMoed. So that's still a Tzarachim. Meaning, if we're still trying to line up the dinim, the etzem din Sudas Nisuin again. Sudas Nisuin, if we're talking about the whole Sheva Brachas, it's mutter to have a whole Sheva Brachas on Yom Tov. You're allowed to get married 1 minute before Sukkot and have 7 days of Sheva Brachas.
What was the day?
What?
What was the day?
The Rambam says, like, you can't do that. He says, but when 2 Nashim, you have to have 7, and then 7, and then 7.
Fine, but who said the whole Shem Brachas?
The Rambam, he says, you have to have, each one has to have her own 7 days.
But that could be also Akiva to the woman.
Correct. Second, so we get to the entire choice. That's the base marriage Bible, that Nekuda with Tzarachin, and the first chelik is also not such a pashut shtickle Torah, that he's saying that if the din of getting this married alein is only als for samachta, not als Eimar Arvin, because Ein Shom in the Hemshech of the Rambam in Ishus, it's mashma that it is a problem of Eimar Arvin. It's mashma that even that's Nisun is Eimar Arvin. Okay. So the Maisa is also more Torah that they bring. I saw in a few different places, B'Shem Brisker. He said, the Rambam's over here by Nisuin like this. And the emphasis is, it's Meduik Hativ in the Rambam, not like the base mayor quotes it. Base mayor quotes it that the Rambam holds that you allowed to marry 10 Nashim, and then they each get their Zayin and Yimei Mishneh. There's Sheva Bracha separately. L'chor, it's not mash like that. In Zayin, the Rambam Zayin Shulchan Aruch. Shulchan Aruch says like this. You allowed to, Yesh L'Adam Lisa Nashim Rabbos Ke'echad, Miyem Echad, Mevorach Berach Tzan M'klum Ke'echad, Aval L'Simcha Tzarech L'Smayach, and Kol Ach Simcha Ro'iyah. So he says you make birchas chasan and l'kum kechad. So birchas chasan and Sheva Brachas, right? So what's happening? You're marrying 10 Nashim, you make Sheva Brachas for all of them. It means that Sheva Brachas start. It means Chal, and Zayin Yimei Mishneh. The Torah's regular, and Torah's Yom Tov, it's Loich Avelos, and that we're, Kol Mini Dinim, Yisra Malachim, it's all Chal. So then what? You can pause it for the other Nashim, and then for Rachel you do 7, and then after that you pick up for Leah where she left off because she only had her first day, because she had her first birchas chasan, and then when someone gets married, they can't put their Sheva Brachas on hold. Okay, we'll start in a few weeks. We'll have Sheva Brachas, make a bracha. What? If the regular can't be chal, no, not in the middle. Forget it. If the regular chal, that's what it says. We're machnas on the chuppah. Once you start the regular, it's like chavis. So the question is, you can't stop put it on pause.
No, so I heard the chassan has somebody being
It's only before. It's before. Yeah. Okay. So as up there, that it's before in the Rambam. There's two separate chiyuv. One chiyuv is the chalois shem chasen makala that there's zayin yimei mishnah. That's the yontif of zayin yimei mishnah. So up there, that is before in the Rambam. That's b'seder Rambam. And that's what the Rambam says. He says you make berchas chasan. That means he became a chasen. And that they became a kala, and you have Zayin Yimei Mishnah. It's up there that this is what they quote. Shane the Brisker, I didn't see it inside here, but that's what they quote. That the Zayin Yimei Mishnah, for all of them, they have Sheva Brachas together. For all the kalas. Every day they make one Sheva Brachas for all 10 kalas b'yachad, and the Moitzi Zayin all b'yachad. And there's no problem with Eimar Arvin Simcha b'Simcha. Why? Because up there, the din of being a chasen, the din of Zayin Yimei Mishnah that's chal in is only one mitzvah. It can only happen once. You can't be a chassan twice over, 3 times over. There's only one thing to do, and that is to be a chassan. So up there's no problem that you have 15 sivas and 15 kalas that make you into a chassan, because you can only be a chassan 1 time over. The chassan has a certain need that you make berachas chasanim, and that you have Isser Malacha, and that you're Simcha, and that it's your Yontif, and the Ches, whatever other dinim you have. So it doesn't matter how many times over, there's something that's being goyrim to give you the Shem Chassan. So you're a Chassan. So you're Chassan because of this, and because of this Kala, because Rachel, Leah, Miriam, and whatever. Lo Mishanet. L'mais, you're just one time a Chassan. So Mele of there's no problem with your Simcha, because he only has one Inyan and one Mitzvah and one Simcha of Zayin Mishnah. So there's another din, and it's Mavur L'char, in the Rambam at least, that the two is under a din, and they're not Habatai. Sometimes you have Zayin Mishnah, and the din Simcha is a different din. For if he's a Bachar L'mashal, he gets Zayin Mishnah, and if some Bachar marries an Almana, there's Zayin Mishnah of Sheva Brachas, and she only gets 3 days of Simcha. What's the din Simcha? It's under a din. The din of Simcha. What?
What's the third din Simcha?
If she's an Almana?
No. Imam Simcha for the 10 Kal.
Right, so what he's saying over there, each Kal has Romas under Simcha. Each Kal is being Misamech. The fact that you're being able to sign brachas for Kul Lechos, that's not a steer teach what's in it. Narvas, there is a din, and that's the din that a Chassan has to be Misamech, the Kala, a Besula 7 days and a Beula 3 days, and that's what the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch are talking about. That is his Chiyav Klapeha, that he has to be Oisik and being Misamech. Stop. Nothing with brachas, nothing with Zayin Mishnah, nothing with Shem Chassan. Stop. She gets a ticket, she has a schus to 7 days of Simcha. So after Rambam, so Shulchan Aruch, Aval L'Smoyach, Aval L'Samcha, Tzarech L'Smoyach, and Kol Acha Simcha L'Uyla. In Besula Zayin Yomim, in Bula Gimel Yomim, Ve'im Arvit Simcha Simcha. That he can't do.
What's the last line you just read?
What?
What's the last line?
Ve'im Arvit Simcha Simcha?
Yeah.
Oh, so it means like this.
For her,
Since he has a job here to be Misameach, Rachel, Leah, this one, that one, each one means for 7 days, I don't know, I guess 24 hours a day. I don't know exactly what exactly Derm and Akiva are. You have to be Misameach, I'm sorry. So you have to be Misameach for the ganze Tag. So maybe that you can't Misharayim. And that's the Pshat Im Arba Simcha Simcha. Now, the Goyin and Shulchan Aruch over here, some are not talking bothered, how it stems with Archaim. The Goyin and Shulchan Aruch says, you know Pshat Mis Mechaber is? So up there, it's the Rambam. And then the Goyin says, Ayin. That's what the Rambam brings over here, Malish Shuazois. And that's the Vard. That was what happened with Yaakov Avinu. That's a Nisuin we're not learning from the Yaakov Avinu. Of course, he could have married Rachel and Leah together. The reason he married Rachel and Leah is because his shter was a big shakran, and he cheated him. That's why he didn't marry Rachel and Leah together. But why did he wait afterwards and not get married? That was the Malish Shuazois. That was the Simcha, because he had to be Misameach Leah, and then after the 7 days of Misameach Leah, that he could have been
How would that be married?
Oh, 1 second. So Dr. Goin. Ba'ayin Toisvis on this halacha. Ba'ayin Toisvis by Katan Chazan Beis and Masbel Fi Ubi Yerushalmi. He quotes Toisvis. And Toisvis, when he quotes the Nevein Ma'arvin, he quotes Shlomo HaMelech, and then Toisvis says Yerushalmi, and then Toisvis says the time of this din is ain't oisin mitzvahs chavilas because you have to have a leif panut. So Kimidubani, there's welcome here to say like this, that the Stama question, why the Rambam quoted Malish Shuazois, then he quoted that. We're back to the Rit. L'maisa, let's say you have to be Misameach 5 Noshim Kachas. Would we have a raya from Shlomo HaMelech that's also? That's a margin? Maybe not. It's min echad. Even if it's Rachel, Leah, Miriam, and I have to be Sameach, but it's all min echad. So maybe, who says there's a problem? I'll be Sameach all together. We'll go Shpatzir with all of them together. I'll be Sameach them all together. Zok Toisvis, Zok the Goyin, look at Toisvis. And that's maybe Pshat in the Rambam. The Rambam said, Ein Chanami, even Shum Shlomo HaMelech, because again, it's for us to be Kaveya, what's yes and what's not simple. So we know from Shlomo HaMelech and the Dr. Ritzvah, from Shlomo HaMelech we learn two meaning. Once it's min echad, there's no problem in arguing. So as long as your latest planning to be Sameach the Kala, so you have 3 Kalas, and you Sameach all the Kalas together. Zok the Goyin, look in Toisvis, that from Malish was you see that even if it's the same min simcha, but it's mutto on him that he has to be Sameach, Rachel, Leah, and Miriam, then it's a problem with Chavilas. I mean, it's Ke'ein Chavilas, not really Chavilas for different reasons. You have to learn the sugi of Chavilas for anything in Shaykh, Shlichus, whatever. But the Maisa is up to going that's what Tosis being managed, and it could be, I'm subject was it, but it could be that when Tosis has the whole Hezber, Tam, Nirik, Tzas, Kavosh, Ein, Chavilas, it could be it's not going back on Shlomo HaMelech. The first thing Tosis brings is from Shlomo HaMelech. It could be there to move on. Ein Ma'aret Simcha means when you're oisik in one mitzvah, one simcha, it's megareh from another simcha. But once it's min echad, malish vuzois, you're talking about the same type of simcha, same min echad, which the Ritva Taka says is no problem min echad. So there, maybe it's Taka okay, Kamash Malan, no, there's still a problem with Chavilas. And the Fizeh, the Ritva is not a steer to Yisham. The Ritva says that there's no problem with Menechad. It's not a steer to Yerushalmi. If you care,
That's what is giving time.
right, only for the Yerushalmi.
Oh,
It's Menechad, because that's the Ritva Steiner. The Ritva says, Malish V'zos Menechad. Teretz says, yeah, that's when it's Chavilas. That's the Simcha. When you have multiple on you to Mesameach, 3 different Noshim, that's Chavilas. Even though it's Menechad, so your lave is Mamish Panoi to do, to be Mesameach, Dafka with the mitzvah Simcha Chas Makala, or whatever mitzvah you have. But once you have Chavilas, because you have 3 different Noshim, so that's a problem. And the Mela Azoi. So the Chasana to marry 10 Noshim to become a Chasin, if you have 15 tzivas to become a Chasin, you still just a Chasin one time over. So it's just you're doing one inyan and one mitzvah. It's Dr. Rambam, it's only the mitzvah Simcha, which he says that we learn from Ali Shavuzois, that the Isser of Ein Ma'arvin couldn't apply to Men Echad, but often that it's a tzura of Chavilas. And that's a Chayr Mamish Pashav Shad in the Rambam and Shulchan Aruch. Okay, so I just wanted to be silent for 1 minute, and that is what it says in all interesting kinds of things. Do a little search on it. We're looking at different svarim, all kinds of different shilas of Ein Ma'arv and Simcha v'Simcha that you find different shuvas in the place from that. I quoted a few of them over here. And Yitzchak, Tzal HaChachma, the all shilas. Could you make Achnasa Sefer Torah with the Bar Mitzvah? Sheva brachas with the Bar Mitzvah. Sometimes you have a Chazikah, you want to make Sheva brachas with the Bar Mitzvah. Achnasa Sefer Torah on Purim. All kinds of different shilas. For some reason, I don't know why, in many of these shuvas, it's not clear, just a very pashida, simple halacha, psuka from Shulchan Aruch, which is that we paskin, Ein Ma'arv Simcha Simcha, like the Goyen points out, or whatever hezbollah you want to say, we paskin like it says in Shulchan Aruch. Now, why is it to have a opinion of Ben and Pres Milah? Because that's not Nechsha Simcha, because we learn the Gedarim of Ein Ma'arv and are only Nisuin with Chag. And that's why we even paskin Nisuin on Purim. So Nisuin on Purim say that Yesh Machmir. But that's only because Purim is an Oichari Yantif. So you have Ma'arv and Nisuin with Yantif. So all these shilas, halacha are all Pshita, Motor, and Lechatchila. The Mother of Ram again, the Mother of Ram is masking, the Mother of Ram agrees. You can make a Bris Milah on Cholamite, you can make a Pidyon Ben on Cholamite, because the Dafka is Nisuin. Narvas, Nisuin bin Nisuin, we know from Eben Ezer, and Nisuin bin Purim, because Purim is like Chag. Narvas, so that's the question, so we have Machlokes Achronim. But Achnasa Sefer Torah, Bar Mitzvah, Sheva brachas, Stam, Sheva brachas, Kol Chiyah Gav, Melchor Lufi Halacha Psuk and Shulchan Aruch. There's no problem with Chal. It's all.
You meant to make one suitor for both?
Yeah, because again,
is that Mavur and Shulchan Aruch?
The emphasis on one simcha for both might even be better. I'm not sure.
So maybe it's chavilas.
Right, maybe saying al chavilas might be a problem. The emphasis chavilas though is not in simchas. That's only mitzvahs, right? It's not to make a suda for Achnasa Sefer Torah. It's no chiv. And to make a siyam, they declare because siyam, the Marshal says siyam is the best simcha in the world, and you should make a simcha b'loyin, like bin moyin. But it's no chiv suda when you make a siyam.
I saw they say that there was no chiv suda by the basic Yeshiva.
It's a din in the simcha. I'm saying in a chanavi, I'll say in Ma'arv Simcha Simcha Maskia. There could be a problem in Ma'arv. It can't be a problem with chavilas. Mitzvahs, chavilas, only mitzvahs. So there's no mitzvah of suda. Elamai, there's a problem with Ma'arv Simcha Simcha Maskia. Teretz says we pass in Shulchan Aruch. It's only Nisuin and Moed, or maybe Nisuin and Purim. But anything less than that is no problem. That's not Shulchan Aruch in 5 places.
From Siyam Sech.
Yes, it's very exciting. I'm asking, it's very exciting.
It makes a huge matzah, not like Pidyon Ben.
Right. Even a huge matzah. So Elamai. So you're right. So maybe you have to take that shkaf from Minchas Pitim, who says fine. Pidyon Ben bris meal is okay, but Achnasas Chanukas Havai is. Like that's what Taisa says. Taisa says Dafka Nisuin. That's what we learn. Dafka Nisuin is what we mean. Now.
Even with
Chanukas
Havai, they buy it, not they make a suda.
Whatever you do, whatever the minig is, the minig of Chalaka, all the minhagim, the mice is it's all in Yanvam, Mir of Simcha. The only darkness is the problem.
Moshe could split it, no?
What?
Saying Shlomo Melech, he also waited, time until he made it.
Yeah, he could wait.
He didn't, no?
He dafka, whatever, pushed it off or used beside. There shouldn't be an ear of Simcha. Now, there is one makar in the Kadmoinim, in the Ramami Kanoi, that Rosh brings over there that's in Minchas Osher and Parshat V'yetzei, where he's talking about Ein Ma'arv. And Ram Kana says that the reason you can't make Kiddush Chalvana on Yontif is because Ein Ma'arv Simcha Simcha. And the Emes, my Kiddush Chalvana Takim Shtei, it's like Simchas Chasim Kala and Alt. So the Rav there says a very simple Pashut Pisoi, and that is the whole sugi of Ein Ma'arv and Simcha B'Simcha is something to do with Simcha Mamashit. What I mean Mamashit is a Simcha Saguf, Simcha of a Suda, of eating, of getting married. There's also some kind of Simcha Saguf even getting married without. Since it's not enough long with the Suda, it's also some kind of Simcha Saguf. Simcha Shal Mitzvah, there's no problem with Ein Ma'arv Simcha Simcha. You can do hundreds of mitzvahs and be Sameach with all the Mamish and the rest of the Simchas in the world. And the Sugya of Ein Ma'arv Simcha doesn't start. Okay, And Haraya is the Rivash. It's a Murdik Rivash. The Rivash is passed in Shulchan Aruch Tav Kuf Memvav. In this I'm being myself. That in Tav Kuf Memvav, the halacha is Nisuin is a Gersh Simcha. That's a problem. Eirsin is not a Simcha. Eirsin is okay. But Eirsin with a Suda, that's a problem. Because Suda's Eirsin is already an Indian from Simchas Anisun. That's with Eirsin with a Suda. Says the Rivash, so you can't have a Suda's Eirsin b'mayim. Let's say I have an Eirsin and no food, but a 7-band concert with a 7-piece concert, huge band, orchestra with the Kudim and Mechal was 4 hours. So that's Motor. So why? I mean, what's a bigger simcha? To have little bilkalach and to wash and a little hummus, or to have a huge simcha, a huge concert with your Kudim Mechal? The Teretz is though that the asik of in Ma'arid Simcha is when you have a Suda's Eirsin. Once you have Suda, and the same thing by Nisuin, which is the Nisuin Alein is a Simchas Aguf, or the Simchas, or the Sudas Nisuin. So it has to be some kind of asik with Simchas Aguf. Mash'in Kein Kud Mecholos just takes the Eirsin, which is the Eirsin Alein is not enough of a Simcha. It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah. It's a Simcha. But just the etzem dance, singing and dancing to be magdal the Simcha of the Eirsin doesn't change the fact that it's the Tzura of Simcha of Eirsin is not the Simchas Aguf. It's not a Simcha that's shaykh to the Sugya of the Ma'arid Simcha. That one.
Chol is Chol, right? So also Rambam.
Yeah, check it out. The Sefer HaChinuch says that the reason why Akavas Oimer is on the second day of Pesach, Torah on the second day of Pesach, is the Eim Arba Simcha with the first day of Pesach. Who says? The Sefer HaChinuch. So that's obviously, I want to point out, maybe that's my point. It's not. That's not. Yeah. So that's the church. It's just lead to Allah. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's smart. So it just says we Dersh the time. Maybe the Ram Pan was coming some. They never come out. Shkech.
That's why we can't. That's why we start counting in the second.
That's why what?
We start counting in the second.